My friends, success does not come from doing big things once. It comes from doing small things every single day. Many people want to speak English confidently, but they wait for the perfect time or perfect course. The truth is, you don't need perfect conditions. You need a simple routine. Today, I will share a daily routine that can improve your English step by step. Not in one day, but every day. And if you follow it, one day people will ask you, how did you become so fluent? Let's begin. Morning is the most powerful time of the day because the mind is fresh. Energy is high and distractions are low. When you begin your day, your brain is like a clean whiteboard, ready to absorb whatever you write on it. If you fill your morning with random scrolling, noise, and negativity, that is what your brain will carry for the rest of the day. But if you start your morning with English input, even just for 10 or 15 minutes, you are telling your brain, this is important. Learn this. Focus on this. And the brain listens. The first habit of the day often decides the quality of the day. That is why the most successful learners make English the very first thing they touch in the morning. Not because they have to, but because they know small, consistent input builds massive fluency over time. Many people believe they need 1 full hour to practice English in the morning. That is not true. The key is not the length. The key is consistency. Even short exposure every morning trains your brain to think in English. It keeps your connection to the language alive. It tells your subconscious mind that English is part of your daily life, not just a school subject or a task. When something becomes part of your identity, learning becomes natural and effortless. Instead of struggling, you begin to enjoy the process. That is why the morning input is so powerful. It creates momentum that carries through the entire day. 1 small step each morning is better than big effort once a week. Success is built in the quiet hours when nobody is watching, when the world is still calm, when most people are still sleeping and dreaming while you are awake and growing. There are many simple ways to start your day with English input. One of the easiest is listening. Put on a short podcast, an interview, or an audio lesson while getting ready. You do not need to understand every word. In fact, trying to understand 100% will slow you down. Just let the language flow into your ears like music. Your brain is smarter than you think. It will slowly recognize patterns, rhythm, pronunciation, and sentence structure without conscious effort. The more you listen, the more natural English will feel. If you prefer reading, begin with something small and enjoyable. A short article, an inspiring quote, a social media post in English, or even the lyrics of a song. Do not force yourself to read boring textbooks. Enjoyable input keeps you coming back every morning. Motivation grows when learning feels interesting and useful. The reason the morning routine works is because it combines focus with repetition. In the morning, your focus is sharp. You are not tired from work or school. Your mind is not full of stress. This is the best time to receive new information. If you put English into your brain at this moment, the retention is much higher than learning at night when you are already exhausted. Repetition is the second factor. When you feed your brain English input every day, it builds familiarity. At first, the language may seem difficult, but after hearing the same words, phrases, and expressions again and again, they become part of you. What once felt confusing starts to feel obvious. Learning a language is not about memorizing everything at once. It is about exposing your brain repeatedly until English becomes automatic. Another powerful trick is to connect English input to your morning habits. For example, if you drink tea or coffee every morning, listen to English while you drink it. If you walk to school or work, use that time to play an English audiobook. If you open your phone first thing in the morning, make sure the first thing you see is something in English. This removes excuses because you are not adding new tasks. You are simply replacing old habits with better ones. When English becomes part of your routine, discipline is no longer needed. It turns into a lifestyle. Many learners fail because they try to force big changes in one day. But transformation comes from small adjustments repeated daily. One more important thing, do not judge yourself in the morning. Some days you will understand more, some days less. That is normal. The goal of morning input is progress, not perfection. The real win is that you showed up. You made English a priority. You invested in yourself before the world demanded your attention. That simple decision builds confidence and self-respect. The way you start your day affects the way you speak, think, and learn for the next 24 hours. Some people start their day complaining. Others start with distraction. But you start with growth. You start with English. And that single choice, repeated every morning, is what separates those who just dream of fluency from those who achieve it. Most people want to speak perfect English before they even open their mouth, and that is the biggest mistake. They wait, they hesitate, they think, they plan, but they don't speak. They are afraid of making mistakes, afraid of being judged, afraid of sounding stupid. But the reality is this: the only way to speak better English is to speak more English. You learned your first language by speaking badly, by making thousands of mistakes, by repeating words again and again until they became natural. Nobody laughed at you because mistakes were part of the process. But as adults, we become too proud. We want to look smart instead of becoming fluent. The truth is, fluency is not about speaking perfectly. Fluency is about speaking confidently, even when you are not perfect. Every time you speak English, you are training your mouth, your tongue, and your brain to work together. It is like building muscle. You cannot build muscle by watching someone else exercise. You must lift the weight yourself. Speaking is the gym of language learning. Thinking in English is good, listening is important, reading helps, but none of these can replace speaking. Many learners say they understand English, but cannot speak. This happens because input alone is not enough. Output is necessary. Your brain needs practice forming sentences in real time. It needs pressure, challenge, and action. When you speak, you force your brain to find words, build sentences, and express ideas. At first, it feels slow and difficult. But the more you speak, the faster your brain becomes. Fluency is the result of thousands of small speaking moments, not one big conversation. The fear of mistakes destroys progress. People think mistakes are signs of weakness, but actually mistakes are signs of learning. If you never make mistakes, it means you are not trying anything new. It means you are staying in your comfort zone. And in the comfort zone, nothing grows. Children don't worry about mistakes. They just speak. And because they speak so much, they learn faster than adults. If you want to improve faster, you must speak like a child freely, without overthinking, without shame. The more you speak, the more feedback you get. The more feedback you get, the more you improve. Mistakes are not the enemy. Silence is the enemy. Silence kills your confidence, your rhythm, your fluency. Speaking keeps your language alive. You don't need a native speaker to practice. You can speak with friends, classmates, or even other learners. You can talk to yourself while doing daily activities. Describe what you are doing. Explain your plans. Tell stories out loud. Record your voice and listen to it. When you hear your own mistakes, you become more aware and correct yourself naturally. You can also repeat lines from movies or speeches. Imitation is a powerful learning tool. You borrow the accent, rhythm, and sentence structure from people who speak well. Over time, your own speaking style becomes more natural and fluent. This is how professionals train. They don't just watch, they copy, speak, practice, and improve. Many people wait until they feel ready before speaking. But you will never feel ready if you don't start. Confidence does not come before action. Confidence comes after action. Each time you speak, even if it's not perfect, you become braver. You prove to yourself that you can do it. Confidence is built by small victories, not by silence. You don't need perfect grammar to start speaking. You don't need a big vocabulary. You just need the courage to open your mouth. Once you start, everything becomes easier. Speaking creates momentum. Momentum leads to growth. Growth leads to fluency. But it all starts with the first word. Another important habit is to speak in different situations. Don't only practice in comfortable settings. Speak when you are nervous. Speak with strangers. Speak in group discussions. Speak on the phone. Speak in voice messages. Each situation challenges you in a new way. When you face different environments, your brain adapts and becomes more flexible. You learn how to express the same idea in multiple ways. You learn how to survive when you forget a word. Real fluency is not knowing every word. Real fluency is being able to continue speaking even when you don't know the exact word. And that skill only comes from practice in real situations. People often say they don't have time to speak, but speaking does not require extra time. You can add it into your daily routine. When you walk, speak. When you cook, speak. When you wait, speak. Turn your thoughts into English. Narrate your life out loud. This transforms passive knowledge into active skill. You don't need a classroom. Your life is the classroom. Speaking is not an event, it is a habit. If you make it a daily habit, fluency becomes a natural result. The moment you stop being afraid of mistakes and start speaking with courage, everything changes. You begin to think faster, feel more confident, and enjoy conversations. English stops being a subject and becomes a tool. You stop memorizing and start communicating. You stop hiding and start growing. The world does not need perfect English speakers. The world needs brave English speakers. The more you speak, the more doors will open. Opportunities come to those who are willing to speak up. People think vocabulary is about learning thousands of words, but the truth is, vocabulary is about using the right words at the right time. Many learners try to memorize long lists of difficult words that they never use in real life. They spend hours writing definitions, but when it's time to speak, they cannot remember anything. Their memory is full, but their mouth is silent. This is because memorization without application is useless. Real vocabulary growth happens when you learn fewer words but use them more often. Quality beats quantity. Learning just 3 meaningful words a day may look small, but over time it becomes unstoppable. Imagine learning 3 useful words daily and using them in sentences, conversations, writing, and thinking. After 1 month, that's 90 words you can actually use. After 1 year, over 1,000 practical words. Those 1,000 active words are more valuable than $10 in forgotten ones. The reason people forget words is because they treat vocabulary like an exam subject. They write it once and move on. But the brain does not remember what it does not use. If you learn a new word and never use it again, your brain deletes it to save space. It keeps only what is important and repeated. So you must show your brain that each new word matters. You do this by using it in multiple sentences, by connecting it to real situations, by noticing it in conversations or texts. When a word appears again and again in your life, your brain accepts it as a part of your language. This is how children learn. They don't memorize, they repeat in real context until the word becomes natural. Adults can learn the same way if they stop studying words in isolation and start living with them daily. Choosing the right words is also important. Many learners focus on rare, complicated words because they think advanced vocabulary makes them sound smart. But most fluent speakers use simple words powerfully. It is better to master common words deeply than to know difficult words superficially. For example, words like pray-prove, decide, prefer, expect, and avoid appear in daily conversations all the time. If you can use them confidently in different sentences and forms, your speech becomes clear and natural. But if you skip them and focus on textbook vocabulary like photosynthesis or a metamorphosis, you will struggle in real communication. Fluency is not about sounding complex. Fluency is about being understood easily and expressing yourself smoothly. Simple words used well create strong communication. One powerful technique is to learn words and phrases, not individually. For example, instead of learning, achieve. Learn, achieve your goals, achieve success, or achieve results. Instead of memorizing, avoid. Learn. Avoid mistakes. Avoid conflict. Or avoid wasting time. Phrases show you how the word is used in real sentences, and they make speaking easier because you don't have to build sentences from zero. You already have ready to use blocks. Native speakers think in phrases, not single words. When you think in phrases, your speaking becomes faster, more natural, and more confident. You stop translating and start flowing. To make vocabulary stick, connect it to emotions or personal experiences. Your brain remembers what is meaningful. If you learn the word frustrated, and think of a time when you felt that way, you will never forget it. If you learn delicious while eating your favorite food, the memory becomes strong. The deeper the connection, the longer the memory. Vocabulary is not just information, it is communication. When a word has emotional weight, your brain holds onto it. That is why storytelling is a powerful way to learn vocabulary. When words are part of interesting stories, your mind stores them with the story, making recall easy. Daily practice is the key. Spending 5 minutes every day using new words is better than studying for 2 hours once a week. Small daily sessions keep the brain activated and engaged. You can write short sentences, create mini stories, or speak the words aloud. You can use them in messages, captions, or conversations. The more ways you use the word, the stronger it becomes. Repetition must be smart, not boring. Instead of repeating the same sentence, try different contexts. Use different tenses. Make questions. Practice both speaking and writing. This turns passive vocabulary into active vocabulary. Passive vocabulary is what you understand. Active vocabulary is what you can use. Fluency depends on active vocabulary. Another effective method is to review old words regularly. Many learners focus only on new words, but forget the old ones. Without review, the brain slowly deletes information. A simple routine is to review yesterday's words, last week's words, and last month's words. This spaced repetition tells the brain this is important, keep it. Even quick reviews help. Just reading them once or saying them aloud is enough to refresh memory. Over time, these words become automatic. You no longer think about them. You just use them. You must also be patient. Vocabulary is like planting seeds. You plant today, you water tomorrow, and you wait. You don't dig up the seed every hour to check if it is growing. You trust the process. The same with words. At first, it feels slow. But one day, during a conversation, the right word will come out without any effort. That is the moment fluency begins. Vocabulary is not built in a single day, but it is built every day. 3 words today may not change your life, but 3 words every day will change your future. Many learners think improving English requires big changes, but often the most powerful shift is simply changing your environment. The language you see, hear, and interact with every day shapes how fast you learn. If you surround yourself with your native language all day and only study English for a few minutes, progress will be slow. But if you surround yourself with English naturally in your daily life, you will start absorbing it without even trying. This is how children learn. They don't sit in class all day. They live in the language. Adults can do the same by turning their environment into an English-friendly space. It doesn't matter where you live or what language people speak around you, you can still create an English world for yourself. One simple step is to change the language of your devices. Your phone, laptop, apps, games, even your Netflix account. Set them to English. At first, it may feel uncomfortable, but discomfort means growth. You will start seeing new words in real contexts, and your brain will learn them faster because they are connected to actions. When you press settings, download, update, or notifications, you don't just memorize words, you experience them. This is how vocabulary becomes natural. You don't sit down and study, you live with the language. The more you see English, the more your brain accepts it as normal. Over time, your eyes and mind become tuned to English. Another powerful way to build an English environment is through media. Whatever you already enjoy, movies, music, YouTube, podcasts, social media, switch them to English. Don't force yourself to watch boring educational content if you don't like it. Instead, watch what you love, but in English. If you like comedy, watch comedy in English. If you like cooking, watch English recipes. If you like gaming, watch English gaming channels. Enjoyment increases attention, and attention increases memory. Subtitles are a useful tool. You can start with subtitles in your language, then move to English subtitles, and later try watching without subtitles. Step by step, your listening and reading skills